How's it going, everyone? We are back with another weekly watch list. This is going to be my watch list, whatever you want to call it, game plan levels for this upcoming week in the stock market, covering SPY, QQQ, IWM, SPX, ES, and NQ. I don't trade futures, but I do watch the futures for ES and NQ for the S&P and the NASDAQ to help with confluence in my trades. So definitely a big part of the strategy. But really only when we're near major supply and demand areas, and I'll touch on that more in a second. So hopefully January's been a good start to you all. It has certainly been pretty solid for me in the trading world of things, so I'm looking to build on that this week. So for a quick breakdown of anyone that's new, green, demand, red, supply, pretty self-explanatory. White and gray is previous day high and low. Okay, this yellow dotted line's previous day close. And then any supply and demand, wicks, bodies, things like that I mark out as well. Blue lines are any potential levels or once key levels that I do want to keep on the chart in case there's any reaction to them whatsoever. So let's go to the hourly here first. All right, we're on S&P up first. And, after coming out of this supply, retesting it and rejecting hard again, we've just been moving on down. All right, looking at the daily first thing up is this gap. It seems pretty likely that price will come down into this gap at 577. So that'll be my main area here for a bounce. So if we do bounce this area, this 577, that looks like a great place for risk and reward in regards to getting long, okay? Back to the hourly here. Let's look at previous day high, previous day low. So this previous day high was once also a 4-hour demand that we had reactions out of and has now flipped to resistance. So it's a pretty good level. This previous day high at 585, previous day low at 578. If we continue strength up, my next resistance zone is going to be 590, but we also have this 2-hour supply zone in here as well. So let me head to the 2-hour real quick. So as you can see, we have a small green candle followed by a large aggressive red candle. So usually what I would do is just mark from the high of this green down to the the open of this candle and mark this as one big zone. But since this is also a previous day high up here as well, I'm not going to mark the entire zone. It would just be massive. It'd be 590 all the way down to 587. So rather keep the previous day high in there. Consider this one big supply zone. But I do mark out the open end, which also happens to be the wick and the open here since there really is no wick, at this 587. So if we get above the previous day high, there is a little bit of room up to the supply zone at 587 where I'll be looking for a reaction there, okay? If we get above 590, then my next supply zone on the 4 hours is going to be up here at 597, okay? Now, we do have this former previous day low, previous day high, and pivot. If I go to the 15-minute, we can see that more on there. I'll actually go to the 20-day 15-minute. Let's see right here. So again, potential levels, like this was a nice previous day low we had that we ripped right through, retested short. So this 593, if we get all the way up here, could have a nice reaction. And then same here, this former previous day high, it was support here. We broke through it. It was a previous day high here. It was a previous day high here. And it acted as a pivot here as well on Tuesday. So over this 590, we could see a rejection in this area somewhere in between here before the supply zone, okay? So that's going to be SPY. Let's head over to ES, okay? So looking at ES, again, really for the ES and NQ, I'm looking at like major supply and demand zones, okay? So first things first, we have a 2-hour demand here at 58.18. So that would be my first watch for reaction. We have 2-hour supply up here at 59.61. So really I will be looking for a reaction in these areas and see how it lines up on SPY, right? And then take a play in using this information, right? If we break below this demand, my next demand is down here at 57.46, this 4-hour demand. If we get above this supply, I have more supply just above 6,000 here on the 4-hour and the 2-hour at 60.16 to 60.44. So over to SPX to break that down real quick. On SPX, I mark every day's previous day high, previous day low in red. And then above that, you'll see all the white levels. They are simply just other previous day high and lows that acted as strong support or resistance or did not get tested and stayed on the chart if we gap above or below them. So really keep it really simple on SPX. I also mark whole cycle numbers as well. You can see this 5,800 area was the bottom on Friday. So really I'm looking for price to move, maybe fill this daily gap fill, which would line up with SPY as well and move higher. If we break below that, we have plenty of room down to 57.23. If price wants to be strong, my next targets over the previous day high would be at 59.29, right? And then above that to 6,000. Again, This was a previous day low, and then it became a previous day high, and then was a pivot on Tuesday, so it stays on the chart, right? So just to break down those blue lines that you see in a little bit more detail there. So let's go to QQQ. Anyways, QQQ, same thing, previous day high, previous day low. Again, I'm always looking for reactions at these first. I always mark the pre-market high and low as well during the pre-market session, and I'm watching those levels first, right? So up first, actually, let me see, did I not put this? Yep, okay, this needs to go on the right. I must have did this on Friday, 2-hour wick and body. So same thing here, very similar look on QQQ that we had on SPY, above the previous day high. The next previous day high was up here at 517, but we do have a 2-hour supply zone just above. So I would be very cautious going long because we have this 2-hour supply with the wick down here at 513, right? So over the previous day high where you have a bullish bias, I'd be a little bit skeptical, a little bit cautious because of the supply up here and rather look for a supply reject, especially in the downtrend we have been in. Above that, we also have more 2-hour and 4-hour supply up here as well at 526 if we clear over 516. As far as bounces go, under the previous day low, we have major 4-hour demand zone here. So usually where you would think, oh, I'll be short under previous day low, you know, where you're running into a nice demand zone here on the 4-hour, all the way back from November here, which has already held very strong as well in November. So I would look for a bounce in this area. Plus, it's a whole psych number of 500. I mean, really, if we continue to show weakness, I would be looking for a bounce here, waiting for price to get back out of the zone, reclaim the previous day low, and looking for a long entry back to previous day high 511. This could also be like a daily swing as well. I don't swing trade, too much of a pussy for that. Maybe later. I definitely will get to it at some point. I'm actually going to do that on a separate portfolio. I opened up a Robinhood. I just have some small crypto positions in there for now that I've had for years, but I was thinking of building that as a separate portfolio for a dividend portfolio, leverage ETFs, swings, selling options, and just use that as a second portfolio. But anyways, so on NQ here, right? We have 2-hour supply, 2-hour supply here and here. So again, you know, I'll look for reactions on NQ to take those plays on QQQ. We had this once 2-hour demand zone here, but we're starting to break it now here. So if we do get below this level of strength, there is room down to this demand zone, which is going to line up pretty well with QQQ as well. So I'll be looking for a bounce in this area here, this 2577 area. And then lastly, let's go to IWM. Same thing with IWM, just really on a nice strong downtrend. We had this beautiful flag on the 4-hour, 2-hour, whatever you want to look at it on, the daily. We broke that flag. The next thing we have up, that's a major area, would be this daily gap at 212. But man, below that, you know, really wouldn't be looking for any signs of reversal until down here to maybe 204. So if we head to the 15-minute, previous day high, previous day low, we have the other day's previous day low just above it as well. We broke it in the pre-market, so it stays on the chart. I'll probably get rid of the zone though, just because it clogs it up a little bit. Plus, it would be a retest of this trend line. If we move back up here, this looks like a really good area for a rejection to move back down. All right, especially if it's strong in the open. IWM just loves to just give back any gains. And then above that, we have 1-hour, 2-hour supply up here as well at 222 down to 220. All right, if I go to the 2-hour, we can see that small green. Again, would be a huge zone, so I just marked it to the 1-hour, but I do have the wick on there as well in case we do blow through this and we get a reaction up here. This looks like a nice area for a reject. Again, as far as bounces go, under the previous day low, we do have this 214 from our low from the fall, September, October. But if I go back to the 4-hour, I don't have any major demand zones, anything like that. Looking at the chart, we have under this daily gap, my next target would be 208, and then below that 204. So it'll be interesting to see where IWM goes. You know, breaking this flag is not a good look. If we don't get a bounce at this daily gap, you know, we could probably see this get back down here, this 200 to 204 area. So that's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you're having a good start to your new year so far, and I'm wishing you all a great week inside and outside of the market. If you did enjoy the video, please consider dropping a like, comment, subscribing, sharing the video. It would mean the world to me. Have a great week, and I'll see you all in the next watch list.